Hey, honeys. So, if have you ever thought about getting some help with your dating life? Whether that is a matchmaker or a dating coach. Well, today's episode is for you because I actually have done both. And today I'm actually going to talk about my experience working with a dating coach, being a Black woman over 40, working with a dating coach. Let's get into it. Welcome, honeys in training, and all of those who love us. I'm Felicia Pride, writer, filmmaker, and founder of media and production company Honey Child, where we tell stories that speak to Black women of a certain age with love. And you are tuning into one of our things, It's Good Over Here. It's Good Over Here is your ticket to the delicious adventures in Honeyland. It's a celebration of how good it can get on the other side of 40 across career, life, and love. In each episode, we offer inspiration and insight on aging boldly because, honey, it is good over here. This is a solo episode of It's Good Over Here where I give you glimpses into my own personal adventures. This episode, I'm talking about my experience working with a dating coach. So, what made me decide to work with a dating coach? Well, first off, I live in LA, okay? And if you've heard anything or you've lived in LA or if you've heard anything about LA, dating is very difficult in LA. I think I just read an article that said that LA is like one of the hardest cities to date in. I'm not completely sure why that is. I have some ideas. One of them being particularly because I work in Hollywood, I think that there is just a lot of, I think people are very focused on trying to get their careers off, trying to get, put on. So I think there's a lot of focus there. I think there's a lot of just, you're not sure what folks' agendas are. So I think that makes it challenging. And I just have found in my own personal experience that it has been challenging connecting with Black men in LA. I'm just going to say it. So I was like, you know what? Thinking about my dating life, my dating experience, I also felt like, to be honest, that I'm not the best dater. I think I'm much better in a relationship. I'm even pretty good in situationships, unfortunately. But as a dater, I felt like I never really gave myself the opportunity to, one, just like enjoy dating. And two, to look at it as a way to really get to know the other person, right? I sometimes would like jump ahead. So I'm like, I want to just get better at dating. So I'm on Instagram and I come across this dating coach. I'm not going to name the dating coach, but they are fantastic. And I liked a lot of what they were talking about. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sign up for a call. And in that call, I was read immediately, like in terms of, and what I realized through this experience, which I'm going to get into more of, is that dating is connected to everything else in our lives. How we think about ourselves, how we put ourselves first, how we treat ourselves, everything is connected. So what I've loved about this particular program is that it's helping me with so much more than dating. Okay, because I got to be honest, sometimes I just am not feeling it, right? I don't feel like getting on the apps. I don't feel like, all the sort of hoops you have to jump through with dating. But what I have found in this particular program, they really get into like your stuff, right? Your trauma, where you learned about love, where you learned about value. What do you think of your own value? And I don't know, I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to like bettering myself. It's one of my favorite things to do because I see that it works. I see that when I put in the work, whether it's through therapy or other therapeutic practices, and now with a coach, it works. My life changes for the better. So I'm in this year-long program, and part of that, I get coaching once a week. And there's different coaches. So it's not just the main coach. There's different coaches who are all fantastic. There's also group coaching where you get together with a bunch of other women who you realize there's a lot of us out here struggling. And it's a weird validation, but it's like, okay, I'm not the only one out here in these streets struggling, right? And you get to hear women be very vulnerable about their experiences and also be very vulnerable about the fact that a lot of us just don't know what we're doing, right? We don't know what we're doing. And also, the difficulties with interpersonal relationships, particularly if you are, a straight woman who dates men, not really understanding where men are coming from, being able to admit those things, being able to have a community where you can talk about those things has been amazing. For the actual direct coaching that I get, the one-on-one coaching that I get, wow, I have learned so much. One thing that one of the coaches told me was to be inconvenient. And that really hit me because I realized I am too convenient. I am too accessible. And there was just something about that word, I guess because I'm a writer, that I love the idea of being inconvenient when it comes to dating. Because I think, and I actually had an ex tell me this years ago I want to say maybe my 30s. He said that I was too accessible. Could you imagine a 30-something man telling you you're too accessible? So fast forwarding, and I'm like, oh, be inconvenient, which to me was connected to just how do I value my time? How do I value myself in these relationships? So that was a huge kind of breakthrough. I had a huge breakthrough around my dad because I've spoken publicly. If you're an OG Child Please listener to our podcast, Child Please, you've heard our episode on daddy issues that Ivy Grant and I had. And there was a time where my father and I had a estranged relationship. And over time, we were able to reconcile and really find a sweet spot for us. He was still not the best dad. Like, it didn't erase that he was not a good dad. But we were able to find a relationship where he was a supporter, a cheerleader, a friend. So it was fantastic. But because he wasn't a great dad growing up, I had a lot of issues stemming from that personally. And I knew why, right? My father had a drug addiction and I felt like he chose the addiction over me. Like I had a fundamental understanding why, but I never connected the dots that he didn't provide for me financially or the family financially at a certain point. And there wasn't that level of protection. And so I didn't require that from the men I was dating. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like 45 years old. Am I just figuring this out? But those type of revelations were huge for me. And, again, making those connections between dating and everything else that's happening in your life. And then there's just the practical things. There's a system that the dating coach uses that really helps us to create boundaries in our dating life, which makes dating less scary. And then there's also the encouragement to have fun while you're dating. And I think that's another thing that I haven't always done. I haven't made dating fun. I've made it feel more like a chore than something that I can enjoy. So that's something that I'm moving into is seeing dating as fun, and then also having boundaries that help to keep me safe during the dating process has been amazing. And just things I have never really, really thought about. Because when you think about it, when are we taught dating? When are we taught how to date? There's no class, there's no booklet, no guidelines. So being able to actually spend some time thinking about that has been amazing. Also, being able to just go deeper into my own desires, what I want out of a partner, what I want out of a relationship, has been tremendous. I do want to talk about the difference between coaching and matchmaking. So I'm working with a dating coach and they are not setting me up on dates. Okay. I have worked with a matchmaker. I'm probably not going to tell you the system, but if you listen to Child Please episodes, I talk about which matchmaking program I worked with. And what they did was they did set us up on dates. There was no coaching element, or at least I didn't purchase the coaching aspect of it. So that was interesting. That was definitely a very interesting adventure of essentially going on like 12 blind dates. Okay. No sort of love connection came out of that, but I enjoyed going on dates and it got me back out there. So that's what I took from that. Coaching is really, again, helping me to understand how to date better, helping me to understand myself better, helping to clear blocks that I have around relationships and love and dating. Part of the coaching, we are encouraged to meet people, right? So one of the main ways to do that is through apps. So, but they have strategies around working on these apps. Okay. Everything from the picture selection. So I updated my picture selection to how to evaluate other people's profiles, which is something, and also just to swipe more. I tend to not swipe right on a lot of people. The idea is to swipe more, but there's encouragement to take breaks because the coaches understand that it can get laborious, it can get tedious, it can get overwhelming, it can get all the things. So we definitely are encouraged to take breaks. And then we're encouraged to meet people in the wild, to smile, to speak when we see someone that catches our eye, which is something that I do particularly only in social settings. And so this is encouraging us to do it all the time, whether you're in the grocery store, whether you're at the dry cleaners. So that has definitely been a shift that I have been slowly moving into for sure, and really enjoying the coaching piece of it, and have been kind of in the mode because 2025 came in so crazy of not really feeling the dating aspect of things. But the coaching still continues, and I'm still able to get so much out of that. But the reality is that the end game is for me, long-term partnership. I don't know about marriage. We'll see. But it's definitely a long-term partnership. So I'm keeping that in mind as I move through the program. I've had so many revelations, so many new insights about myself, taking new risks, which have led to more adventures in terms of just my dating life in general. So the top 3 things I learned about myself: 1, it would probably be I need to set more boundaries. 2, I need to value myself more. That's been like a lifelong struggle. So to look at it through the lens of dating has been really, really eye-opening for sure. And 3, I need to ask for help more. That was another revelation that came out of the coaching, was that I do not ask for enough help. And that can be as simple as, you're on the airplane. Can you help me put my bag up? To, asking for help at work. And in terms of boundaries, the coaches have definitely helped me understand the boundaries I can have in dating, in terms of what I'm willing to accept, what I'm willing to put up with, and even more practical in terms of how to communicate, how I want to be communicated with. But the coaches have also helped me to set boundaries with family. Again, what I will, what I won't put up with friends. And that has also been tremendous in my life. And again, you see how everything is connected. Top 3 things I learned about men. Child. I am still learning. But I think it connects with the asking for help. I think that I am definitely, and connected to my father, very independent. Don't do me no favors, but I need to ask for some favors. So that's one huge thing that I learned. I don't know if that's about men as it's still about me. What I love is when I think about younger Felicia, and dating, like in my 20s, I was a mess, but I was having a good time. So even though I was a mess, I like the fact that Felicia was enjoying herself, and she was learning about herself, and she was experiencing things. But now I'm happy that I am giving myself the space to continue to learn and grow, even when it comes to something like dating, which you think you just should know intuitively. Overall, how would I rate this adventure with a dating coach? Honey approved for sure. I think the overall lesson is getting help when you need help and not being afraid to get the help that you need, even if it's for something you think you should know about, whether that's finances, career, dating, motherhood. Get help when you need the help. So what's up next for me? What's some good trouble adventures that I'm getting into? Well, I can't wait to talk about an adventure I recently had where I learned how to shoot a gun. Yeah, something I've never done before. So I'm super excited to tell you about my experience. So what's one good adventure you can get into next, honeys? And let us know. Let us know in the comments on Instagram. Let us know in the reviews on the podcast episodes. Let us know in the comments on YouTube. If that's where you're catching us. What's a good adventure that you can get into? Thank you so much, honeys, for listening to this solo episode of It's Good Over Here. I hope that you took something from it. I hope that you are encouraged to go get some help and ask for some help. And I hope that you're encouraged to keep growing. It's Good Over Here is a Honey Child thing. Honey Child is a media company that speaks to Black women 40 plus, honeys as we like to call them, across audio, digital, film, TV, books, and more. Don't forget to follow Honey Child on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at It's Honey Child. And visit our website at honey-child.com. For bonus content and other exclusive Honey Dip stories, subscribe to our Substack at yeshoney.substack.com. That's yeshoney.substack.com. Until next time, honeys, it's good over here. You coming?